The following is what comes after this ID and is a special presentation of NGD News.
This is National Gullible Day live coverage. Reporting from NGD News Central in Seattle, Washington, here's Tim Hunter.
Hello and welcome to NGD's coverage of National Gullible Day. I'm Tim Hunter. Quick reminder that last night was the night we turned the clocks ahead 15 minutes. I'm kidding. It was actually 30 minutes as part of the brand new Daylight Stupid Time. Let's take a look at our live weather cam right now and see what's going on outside. A bit cloudy today. It's traditional northwest gray. Hoping for a little clearing later on this afternoon. We'll keep our fingers crossed on that. And whatever. Hey, I do want to pass along a special hello and welcome to Seattle to our brand new news director, Bob Haskins. Bob came to us from Fresno, and he's kind of settling in, bringing a whole bunch of fresh new ideas to NGD News, and one of them is replacing the traditional weather forecast. I mean, basically, it's going to rain or it won't, some clouds, some sun, there you go. Well, what Bob wants us to do is give you your daily horoscope. So, enjoy. This has got to be the low point in my career. Where did we get this clown from? Fresno? For God's sakes. I'm going to have to start thinking about that Amway thing. What? You didn't cut the microphone. Thank you, Robert. Great idea. Love the haircut, and watch out for those Chinese satellites. Believe it or not, some people are just now finding out about National Gullible Day, and one of the first questions we always hear from the newbies is, so how do you celebrate? Glad you asked. Dancing has been a big part of the celebration for as long as anyone can remember. And for the past 30 years, Frank Morgan of Fayetteville, Indiana, has danced every single year to celebrate the day, including this year. His parents must be proud. But there are other ways you could join in. In Roscoe, South Dakota, the children dress up and put butterflies on their head. In Slipshot, Texas, people gather for the annual table juggling competition. Now that may look impressive, but the really good ones can do the chairs too. Closer to home, there's a huge National Gullible Day celebration here in Seattle with literally several people attending. Our NGD News crew is standing by with the president of the Seattle Gullible Society, Howard Schlockschlanger, who is going to describe how they celebrate.
So you might wonder what's going on here at the Gullibility Conference. Well, we have a myriad of activities. One of them is our annual pickled herring tasting contest. The other is the Dancing Gullibility Singers. And then finally, we have a special ceremony where we give out awards to the most gullible.
Meanwhile, the town of Briar, Washington is doing something unique. They're taking advantage of the day to set up safe rejection sites where people can ask the questions they really want to ask, but without fear of rejection. Some of the most popular questions they ask: can I have a raise? Would you go out with me? Can I have $10? We asked the organizers of the country's first safe rejection site for an interview, and of course they said no. Speaking of no, a man who doesn't hold back on his opinions with a few thoughts about National Gullible Day, here's our own Dory Monson. Dory?
Hey, it's Dory Monson. I was voted by Popular Mechanics, the most popular local talk show host in America. And if you don't believe me, I have the check here to prove it from them. I'm here to talk to you about National Gullible Day, which, this stupid idea. It's in a real check. You can see that. National Gullible Day. Who came up with this idea? South City Council? Sound Transit? Nobody's going to buy this.
Well, this seems as good a time as any to take our first break. More National Gullible Day coverage coming up next.
It was a love that was never meant to be. But now that it was, what was next? Don't miss Guillermo del Toro Puerto Vega Hyundai's romantic masterpiece, The Shape of Water. Meet the family. Rated R. Under 17, expected in the theater at any time.
The Goat Show, the Goat Show, the big Seattle Goat Show. Goats and goats and goats and goats and goats for you to see.
The Big Seattle Goat Show is this weekend at the Murdoch Hunter and Alice Exhibition Hall. All kinds of goats, all the latest models. Nanny goats, billy goats, mountain goats, Nubian goats, Oldbian goats, formal mirror, cashmere. All this weekend at the Big Seattle Goat Show. See what's new in goats for 2001. Bring the kids. If you don't have kids, we do.
I love the selection and the special prices on last year's closeout models.
This year's show is the greatest. Ever.
They've got my goat.
And don't miss this year's special guest, Sunday from noon until she catches on. It's Fran Drescher from The Nanny.
Oh my God, it stinks in here.
All at this year's Big Seattle Goat Show.
The Big Seattle Goat Show.
National Gullible Day from all of us at NGD News.
Welcome back to NGD's coverage of National Gullible Day. I'm Tim Hunter, and Heather's standing by with an update on the stock market. Heather?
Thank you, Tim. Well, being that this is a Sunday, all the markets are closed. Back to you.
Thank you, Heather. Right now it's time to turn on the NGD Community Spotlight. We'd like to introduce you to Joe Koshlinsky. There's a name for a sobriety test. Joe has been irritated because when he drives from Bothell to Kenmore and Kenmore to Bothell, he can never tell where one city begins and one ends. So he'd like to build a wall. We've got Joe with us right now. Joe, is this wall really necessary?
We need a wall because we need to know where we are at all times. And my dad said, know where you've been and know where you're going. With a wall, I know where I'm at, and I know where I'm about to go. It just seems like the natural way to do things. I set up a GoFundMe account, and it's been having moderate success. We got about 4 or 5 people that have contributed. One guy wanted his money back.
Hey, Joe, this is Tim back in the studio. I guess we started talking, so never mind. What are you going to use to build this wall?
So what we want to use for the wall is we don't want to make it so you can't go to Bothell and go to Kenmore. We want to be able to go back and forth, but what we want to make it out of is cinder blocks. That's all we can really afford right now with the success of our GoFundMe campaign. I'd like to eventually do some improvements, but for now we're going to take what we can get at the dollar store.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. Why don't we check back with Heather now and see how that stock market is doing again. Heather?
Still closed.
Great stuff. More coverage coming up on National Gullible Day in just a moment.
Red, you go. Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't Instagram.
Thank you for tuning in and enjoying our coverage of National Gullible Day here on NGD. I'm Tim Hunter, and I know a lot of you are itching to get out into the garden, so why don't we check in with our gardening expert, Greta.
Hi, welcome back to Gardening with Greta. I, of course, am Greta. Each week we love to bring you tips to keep your garden flourishing and thriving through spring and summer so that you can enjoy your garden year-round with wonderful plants and fruits and vegetables. This week's tip. Hire a gardener.
Well, that was valuable. A Renton man is suing the city of Renton because they posted a sign 38 years ago that was meant to be a joke, but he didn't get the joke until just now. Reporting live from the scene, our own Brittany Wells. Brittany?
That's right, Tim. Herman Glockley is suing the city because of a sign they put up near the cemetery. It took him 40 years to get the joke. We were unable to interview Mr. Glockley, but we do have this file footage. That's all from here. That's all from here. That's all from here. I'm Brittany Wells, NGD News.
Great reporting, Brittany. And on that note, we're going to conclude our coverage of National Gullible Day here on NGD. We're going to close out this time around with a very special song, a brand new song that was written specifically for National Gullible Day
by famous singer Neil Young. Not that one, the other one.
For all of us at GND News, NGD News, thanks for watching and have a very pleasant whatever's left.
Happy, happy National Gullible Day. Happy, happy National Gullible Day. Can't believe that it's time to say happy, happy National Gullible Day. Happy, happy National Gullible Day. Gullible Day. Really glad that it's not in May. So that is why today I say happy, happy National Gullible Day. Gullible Day. Gullible Day.
Happy National Gullible Day. Believe me,